Hi, and welcome to part 2 of our EMC 3 pre-test. Before I did the first 7 questions of this, now I'm moving on to the second half. And here, number 8, Brian buys a notebook. Oh, there's our bell. All right. Brian buys a notebook for $1.29 and some pens for 49 cents each. He spends a total of $4.23. Assume there is no sales tax where Brian lives. How many pens did Brian buy? I want to address this no sales tax thing. What happens is when you buy stuff, you have to pay tax. So tax is an increase. It's the government asking for some money. Every time you buy something, you have to give the government some money for buying it. It's kind of a weird system. But so what this is saying is we're not adding any money after he buys the stuff. We're just going straight up. That's what this no sales tax means. It's just straight up. So define a variable that can be used in this situation. X. Okay, so X is our variable, but what does that mean? X is, let's see, how many pens Brian can buy. X is the number of pens Brian can buy. Okay, there we go. Write an equation using that variable from part A. Okay, so we're going to use X. So he buys a notebook for $1.29. I'm going to write $1.29. Okay, and 49 pens for 49 cents each. Each, right there. That's telling me multiplication is X. That's multiplication. That's a problem with sometimes when we use X for a variable and then we use multiplication. Sometimes it's hard to figure out, well, what's what. So I'll write each would mean multiply. multiply. Okay, so that means multiplication is coming up. So he buys a notebook and he buys pens for 49 cents each. 0.49 times X. And here's another reason why we don't write multiplication symbol, because people might think, oh, 0.49 and then multiplication symbol X. What's what? Well, this means 0.49 times X, times the number of pens Brian can buy. Okay, now he spends a total of $4.23. So all the money that he spends is equal to $4.23. This is our equation. And then we have to solve the equation. 1.29 plus 0.49x equals $4.23. So to solve this, just like any other two-step equation, we have to subtract $1.29. And 49 cents times x, let's see, 13 times, this ends up being 13. 13 times 13 subtract 9 is 4. And this is 11 minus 2 is 9. And we had to borrow there. It says 3 minus 1 is 2. $2.94. And so we now have to divide by 49 cents. And let's see what we got here. These cancel. So the Cowboys and Horses, this bad boy, $2.94 divided by 49 cents. I'm going to move the decimal two times, and I'm going to do this up here, 49 into 294. Well, to figure this out, how many times does 4 go into 29? Well, 4 times 7 is 28, but that might be too close. I'm going to try 6. I'm going to try 49 times 6. What is 49 times 6? 49 times 6, 4. 9 times 6 is 54, and that's 24. 24 plus 5 is 29. Hey, look at that. It's exactly 294. So, does 49 go into 2? No. Does 49 go into 29? Nope. And so 49 goes into 294 exactly 6 times. Awesome. It's 294. Remainder is 0. So what does this mean? He can buy. So what does this solution mean? Means Brian can buy 6 pens. There you go. And that's a huge one. This one's 8 points right here, an 8-point question. 2, 4, 6, 8 points. 2 points for each part of these. A lot of stuff going on there. Number 9, a fence forms a rectangle and uses 74 meters of fencing. If the width of the enclosed area is 12 meters, what is the length? So what I would be doing is, I like to start with a drawing of the whole thing. So it's a rectangle. Isn't that a gorgeous rectangle? And the fence uses 74 meters of fencing. And so that means all around here is 74 meters. That's called the perimeter, which is the P stands for perimeter, is the distance around an object. So we got 74 meters going all the way, around. If the width is 12, so the width right here, that would be 12, and that would be 12. What is the length? Okay, well, what I would do, I'm going to focus this here to make sure it doesn't jump around. What I would do is I would take the 74 and I would subtract 12 2 times. And so 74 minus 12, what, that's 62, minus another 12, that's 50. Okay, so 50 represents this distance plus that distance. And they're both the same distance right there. The length of each of these is the same. So I should be able to take 50 and divide it by 2. So that would be 50 divided by 2 is 25. So this, 25 meters. That is our final answer. Does this work? Well, 25 plus 25 is 50. And we can work backwards. 50. So together, that's 25 plus 25 is 50. Plus 12 is 62. Plus another 12 is our 74. Just to make sure you understand this as well, we can make a two-step equation. So 2 times the length, plus 2 times the width, which I'll just call this 12 plus 12 is 24. That equals our total of 74. So if we set up an equation like this, we would subtract 24. And we get 2 times the length equals 50. And just to let you know, when I subtract 24, that's the same thing as subtracting 12 2 times right here. So this is the same, it's really the same thing. This is a formal math way of looking at this problem, what I did. Then 2 times L is 50. That means that L, or the length, is 50 divided by 2. And that's what I did here. When I got to 50, I divided by 2, and I got 25. So there you go. A 2-point question right there. And then we have subtract the following numerical expressions. Well, we should know by now, positive peanut right there. 8 plus 9 is 17. Negative 14 minus 5. I see this as a negative 14 minus 5 or plus 8 negative 5. The signs are the same. You have to add them and keep that sign, negative 19. And then this one. What is the value of 1.8 divided by 0.3? I have 1.8 divided by 0.3, and this should be negative. Now, we could use a zero triangle in this to know the sign of our answer. The sign of our, so a negative divided by positive is a negative. So we know our answer is negative. And then cowboys and horses. 1.8 divided by 3. 1.8 is the cowboy who sleeps inside, and 0.3 is the horse who sleeps outside. And when you divide, you have to move that decimal all the way to the right here. So that's one space, and you have to move it an equal number of spaces there. So what we have is really 3 going into 18. Now 3 does not go into 1, and it's important, I think, to write that 0 right there. And 3 goes into 18 6 times. So what is the final answer? Well, This divided by this is 6, and we knew the answer was negative from the zero triangle, so the answer is negative 6. Okay, our last few questions here. Oh boy, look at all this. Write an expression, look at all this vocabulary, an expression with all rational coefficients that includes at least one variable, one constant, and the distributive property in order to simplify. Wow. And then you have to simplify the expression. Well, let's start. Rational. Rational. Okay, so the expression, we'll get into that. Rational. That really just means that you have a integer like 4 or negative 2. Those are integers. Or you can have a decimal like 4.1 or negative 2.8. Okay. Or you can have 4/7 or negative 2/9. These are all rational numbers right here. And really, rational numbers at this point, I'll just tell you they're integers or whole numbers or decimal, positive and negative decimals, positive and negative fractions. That's what rational, it's pretty much any number you can think of is a rational number. So a coefficient, now we need a variable for that. The variable I'll use will be x. And rational coefficient, well, I just need to pick a rational number. How about I pick 4? Okay, now 4 is now my coefficient. That's the number in front of the variable. So 4 is the coefficient. Great. And I have a variable. Okay, so write an expression with rational coefficients and includes at least one variable. Okay, so far I'm right here and I'm done. But I need a constant. And a constant is a number without the variable. So how about +1? Here's my constant. I need to use the distributive property. So how about I have 2? I'm going to distribute the 2 to everything here. So I'll put this in parentheses. All right. There it is. A rational coefficient, 4. I have a variable, x. I have a constant, +1. I'm using the distributive property. I'm distributing to the 2 to everything in here. Now, simplify. To simplify, I need to so this is part 1 of the answer here. And then we need to distribute. 2 times 4 is 8, but don't forget the x there. Oops. 8x, and then 2 times, so it's sometimes like a rainbow rule. 2 times 4x is 8x, and 2 times 1 is 2. So that's +1, so that'd be +2. There you go. And simplify, and there it is simplified. Here's our expression. Doesn't have, and then this is our simplified expression. Write an equation now. Okay, so how about I just use this entire thing right? How about I use this entire thing right here? That was an expression. I need an equation with all of these parts in it. So I could just use 2 4x + 1. And now I need an equation. Equations have equal signs in it. And I need to have a target. How about this? I need to, when I solve this, I need to have an x equals something. Well, when I'm creating this, I can make x anything. How about I make x the value of 3? Okay, so I know that the answer, when I get to the bottom here, x is going to be 3. So what I have to do is create the right target, so x is 3. So what I'll do is I'll just use the order of operations off to the side. 2 times, I'm going to write this entire thing here, but instead of x, I'm going to write 3. So 4 times 3, because I want x to be 3, +1. Okay, and I'll put this in parentheses. No, I won't do that. Oh yeah, I will. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. So 12, that's 12. +1. Okay, and I have to do 12 + 1 is 13. So this is all this in parentheses. This entire parentheses is here. 12 + 1 is 13. So I've simplified that part, and then I have to multiply it by 2 still. 2 times 13 is 26. So that equals 26. And that is going to be the target that I'm going to put right here, 26. Here's my equation. And I already know the answer for x is going to be 3. But now you're asked to solve the equation. So we've built it. And let's see. It's an equation. Rational coefficients. Rational coefficient is 4. It has a variable. That variable is x. It has a constant, plus 1. That's the constant. I'm using the distributive property. I'm distributing the 2 to everything. Okay, now I'm going to solve it. Okay, so I'm going to distribute the 2. 2 times 4x is 8x. It's just like this. It's going to be just like this right now. 2 plus 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, and that equals 26. And now we're going to solve two-step equations just like we did earlier on this pretest. We have, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. 8x equals 26 minus 2 is 24. And look at this. This is multiplication. I use division to solve it. They're going to cancel. Divide by the same amount on both sides. Just like I subtracted 2, the same amount here, I'm going to divide by the same amount here. 24 divided by 8 is 3. It's exactly what I said it was going to be because we set it up. We set our target up right there. So there it is. Solved. Solve the equation. It is solved. Write a word phrase for this. So let's see. Write a word phrase. Well, that's 0.2 times x plus 8. So that's multiplication in there. So I could say 0.2 times x plus 8. Look at that. That's just so easy. Or I could write the product of 0.2 and x increased by 8. And there you go. That's all the stuff you got to know for the second half of the test. Thank you for watching.